I have rheumatoid arthritis. I was diagnosed in 1986 with it. I live daily on a little pain medication.
The majority of the pain relievers today are opiates. Those are good medications, they do the job, but they also, if used in the wrong manner, can end a life.
You get the drugstore printout and it tells the risk, but there's been so many deaths of overdose.
With the number of deaths due to prescription overdose, everybody needs to be aware in this county and nationwide for that matter that it is a problem.
You could say I knew him as well as anybody. We were raised together. We were always best friends. My husband's name was Randy, and he died at 33 from an oxycodone overdose where the doctor had prescribed him Percocet. Dylan was 2.5, and then I was 3 months pregnant with a new baby. That was Logan. When he broke his sternum, the doctor gave him a prescription for pain medicine. He had tried to come off of it because he didn't want to get hooked on it. He had got another prescription for it and I didn't know it. He died on a Sunday. He laid down probably about 3:30 that afternoon. His eyes were red and his speech was slurred and he was staggering around, and I just assumed that he had been drinking and he had drunk too much and he needed to lay down and sleep it off. I went in there about 9 or 9:30 to diaper the baby. I went in and he was pale and I found him. He had no idea when he laid down that day he wasn't going to get up like he always did. I assumed he'd get up like he always did because I assumed he'd been drinking and didn't know he had took any pills. It only takes one time.
Opioid pain medications are often used in conditions that cause moderate to severe pain, such as arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, cancers, and chronic back pain. Some common opioid pain medications include hydrocodone, which includes brand names like Lorcet and Vicodin, oxycodone, which include brand names like Percocet. There are also longer-acting opioid medications like OxyContin, MS-Contin, methadone, and there's one in a patch form called fentanyl or Duragesic. Opioid medications can cause a number of side effects. In the short term, we often see nausea. Longer term, we see constipation as a common side effect. Some people will also have some sedation or sleepiness. Fewer people will have itching or rash. Those need to be brought to the attention of your physician immediately. The most serious risk for taking opioid medications is the risk for overdose. If you take more than your body can handle for whatever reason, it can depress the breathing centers of the brain and you could actually stop breathing. What would put you at more risk for an unintentional overdose would be starting a new opiate medication or switching to a newer, especially a long-acting version. Other conditions might be certain medical conditions like chronic lung disease or kidney problems or liver problems.
Good afternoon. Hi there.
So how have things been going since our last visit together?
A lot of pain in my shoulders,
Okay.
in the back of my shoulder blades,
Okay.
really on both sides.
What activities would you say have suffered from this?
Well, exercising.
Your walking program?
Walking program,
Okay.
yes.
How about sleep?
Yes, when it gets about a 9, Up and down.
Okay.
Up and down.
Okay. So Diane, it sounds like what we need to do is increase both the strength and the frequency of your medication to address your pain. And as we've talked about, if your pain is not adequately controlled by your current medicine dose, it's important that you stay in close contact with your physician so that he or she can help you adjust your medications. Particularly with long-acting opiates like methadone or OxyContin, increasing pills even by one pill can put you at increased risk for overdose. Do you drink any alcohol at all?
No, ma'am.
None.
No.
Not using any drugs other than what's prescribed to you by a physician?
No. Never.
Other substances can combine with the opiates to make you more at risk of an overdose as well. If you take certain medications, especially like Valium or Ativan, they work together with the opiates to make you more at risk for an overdose. Alcohol or recreational drugs, even at low levels of use, taken along with opiates, can increase your risk for overdose death.
Good morning. Hello. I'm here to pick up my medicine.
Hi, Diane. How are you?
Doing great. Good morning to you.
There's a couple of things that are really important that you need to know about this medication.
Okay.
If your doctor was to go up on your dose, be real careful with that, especially the first couple of days. If you jump into a dose that's too high for you, it can cause that respiratory suppression too and can cause overdose.
We'll have you come back sooner than usual since we're making this dose adjustment to make sure that you're tolerating the medicine okay. And to make sure that it's helping you with your pain and we don't have to make more changes. So that you should keep close contact with your doctor should you experience any side effects so that changes can be made in the medications. Your doctor might also ask you to submit urine for drug screens to make sure that there are not any substances in your body that could interact and increase your risk for overdose.
With whatever knowledge that you have today, what would an overdose look like to you?
Can't stay awake.
Can't stay awake?
In Pulp Fiction, she overdoses on heroin, and she freezes up and starts shaking.
An overdose from narcotics is not going to look like Pulp Fiction. Somebody may be just falling asleep on the couch. An opioid overdose essentially stops you from breathing. You want to check their breathing, and if you see that their breathing is down to possibly 10 breaths a minute, that loud snore, that gasp for a breath, and then there's those seconds in between before when another breath is taken. The lips are blue, the face has gone gray and ashen color. You can't wake them up, and they're becoming unresponsive. There's different ways to get someone's attention if they might not be breathing. You're going to shout their name, you're going to move them, and if that's not working and it's not waking them up, then you may take your knuckles and begin to rub on the sternum like this to get some response. Now, if you've done this and they're still not waking up, you need to know what to do next. You want to prop their head back, make sure that everything is clear within their mouth and nose area, and clamp the nose, and you just put your mouth over their mouth and take 2 or 3 breaths into their body. Just blow in. 2 to 3 breaths in. You call 911 and you simply have to say, somebody in my home has stopped breathing. You've done the rescue breathing and they're still not responding, and you're saying, I need to do something more. You're going to go after your naloxone.
Naloxone is a very safe medication. It's been used by paramedics in the medical system for many years. If this is not an opiate overdose, you're not going to hurt the person by giving them naloxone.
Naloxone works on the opiates. It does not work on, again, the benzodiazepines, Valium that you've probably heard about, Xanax, Klonopin, and Ativan. You're going to grab a hold of your kit, put in the plunger, screw on the nasal adapter, insert this in the nose, give it a half a spray in the right nostril, put it in the left nostril, give it the rest of the dose, and then give them some immediate rescue breathing on top of that. In your kit, there are 2 vials of naloxone. There's one, of course, you're using initially, and if you find out after about 2 or 3 minutes that it has not had any effect, you want to administer that second one to make sure that there's enough naloxone to stop the effect of the opiate.
The rescue position is on one side, usually the left side, with the left arm above the head. This helps them to breathe more clearly. This is the position that you want to keep the person until EMS arrives.
You want to make sure you stay with the individual. So the naloxone might wake them up, but the naloxone eventually is going to wear off, and again, that narcotic prescription then could kick in.
Even if you give the naloxone and the person who has overdosed becomes conscious, it's still important to get EMS to the scene as soon as possible. The opiate that had been in their system relieving their pain is no longer working, therefore they might have pain, they could have some symptoms of opiate withdrawal, and they may be very uncomfortable.
If there's been an incident where your naloxone had to be used either on you or someone else, contact Project Lazarus. When you do that, we'll instruct you on how to get your refill, where to replace it if you've lost it or it's expired. We will make sure that you have the proper naloxone supply within your house. It's Project Lazarus. It literally is raising somebody from that dead situation.
That could have helped a lot if I had known what the signs and the symptoms were. I would have done something about it before it went too far, that afternoon or something, before he laid down.
She was the best kid that you could ever ask for. She was a cheerleader and made good grades in school, and she played soccer. And then when she hit 18, her senior year, it all went to pot. She started hanging out with a different group of people. She never ever lied to me before. And finally she admitted to me that she had a problem and she wanted help. About the time that I found out she had a problem, a very close friend of mine's son passed away from a drug overdose. I kept telling her, Casey, I don't want to get that phone call. And she said, I know my limits. I'm not going to make the mistakes he made. And I didn't get that phone call. I was the one that had to make that phone call to her daddy and tell him that his daughter was dead. Because I'm the one that found her. She tried to do it on her own and did. She quit doing anything. For about 3 weeks, she was very sick and wasn't sleeping, but she quit. This guy had come to our house, and he was somebody that she knew from her past. And when I got home that evening, I could tell that she had done things that she shouldn't have been doing. I went downstairs about 11 or 11:30 and checked on her, and she was asleep. And my husband left that Saturday morning about 7:30 going to Hickory, and he went downstairs and heard her snoring. And I took the phone down about 12 or 12:30 because she had a message. And when I opened the door, I could tell that she was dead. It was prescription medicine that weren't either one of them. She probably did a dose that she had been used to doing all along. She wasn't tolerating it because she had been off of them so long. And that's probably what killed her.
Your body adjusts to opioid medications and develops a tolerance. Over time, taking these medications, you need more of a medication to achieve the same pain relief result. It's very important that if for some reason you're off of your pain medication for a period of time, like you're in the hospital or you're ill and can't eat or drink very much, that you not go back to your previous level of use. As that tolerance has gone down, your body will be more sensitive to the medication and you'll be more at risk for an overdose.
It's just unbelievable how addictive that medicine is, and I don't think people realize, just how much damage it can do.
About 1 in 10 people might have a problem with addiction with opiates. And it's not a problem that should scare you from getting adequate pain relief with the right medications. Signs that you might be experiencing symptoms of addiction are taking more of the medication than was prescribed, taking the medication for pains other than what it was prescribed for, or other reasons than pain. Some people might notice that they take it when they're emotionally distressed or if they can't sleep. Some people even get a buzzed feeling or a happy feeling from taking the medication. A clear sign that there might be a problem with addiction is that there's a loss of control around the medication and taking the medication. If you notice any of these signs in yourself or in a loved one, it's important to get in contact with a physician. He or she will work with you to devise the right plan for you.
If you've made a decision that you'd like to detox from your opiate drug, going to the ER and just trying to detox on your own is not the way to go. It's probably more painful. It's also going to be more costly. There are alternatives.
This medication is prescribed to you by a doctor. You can pick it up at the pharmacy and take it in the privacy of your own home, and it is covered by Medicaid and most insurance carriers. There are providers in your area who can prescribe this medication, and you can find them by going to projectlazarus.org.
I learned a great deal about personal responsibility with your medication. Where I'd had past surgeries and kept them, just didn't throw them out, didn't use them. And I went home and collected them and disposed of them, knowing that I could be possibly a contributor to the problem.
Never throw the vial out with your information on it and the pill still in the container. Take those pills and remove them from that container. Mix them with kitty litter or coffee grounds, something that's detestable. Place it in a baggie and throw that in the trash. Take your label off your vial, tear that up, and throw your vial away separately.
Get rid of it. Don't keep it hanging around in the medicine cabinet for somebody else to come in and take out.
This is a lockbox for my medications. I have 2 young grandchildren. Little children like to experiment. If they see something out, they might just put it in their mouth, not realizing the danger. I'd hate to know that someone took some of my medicine and then later overdosed on it. That is to lock the medicine up so there won't ever be that chance of getting into the wrong hands.
Keep your prescription locked up and keep your prescription your prescription.
It's important never to share your pain medication with anyone else or take someone else's medication. You don't know if they have other medical problems or if they're on other medications that could interact with the opiate, and you certainly would not want to be responsible for putting someone at increased risk of overdose death.
When my pain level's down, I like to keep mobile and exercise. I like to walk on the treadmills and lift a few weights. It helps me feel healthy. It makes me feel I'm well. And just getting out, being around people and being active, it just makes me feel like I'm not sick like I really am,